Some of the technicals, they suggest some exhaustion flows, especially on the real money side. They have changed quite a lot. So there has been a good buying of dollars, especially by real money, more real money than leverage accounts, which is quite interesting. Hedge funds had bought a little bit less dollars than real money. But that's what we're saying. We are still discovering. There's a lot of price discovery in the market now. And that's very important. In the background of all this tariff environment, which hasn't quite materialized yet, we are seeing an European manufacturing and European services sector, they're actually taking another dip. This is something very important, which will probably continue to generate downside Euro FX pressure, which is good for the dollar.
The peso, what does one do? Because some of the initial reaction from Mexican authorities was that they don't want to be seen as a backdoor for Chinese product going into the United States market. That seemed to suggest they're willing to perhaps work with the Trump administration when it takes office. To what extent do you sell the peso on this 25% tariff threat today?
We are still reasonably cautious. I mean, obviously realizing that one headline can make the peso move by 1.5–2% like it did overnight. But listen, if you add China, Canada, and Mexico, they account for more than 40% of U.S. imports, right? So obviously to us, it's absolutely obvious, and given the importance of immigration and the tariff environment, those two big topics, right, in Trump's economic policy, to us it's absolutely obvious that the Trump administration will use tariffs as one important lever, right, to negotiate with Sheinbaum's government. So it's probably something more about negotiation rather than imposing tariffs. So it's going to be a very different reaction function if compared to what the Trump administration can do to China. But I think that, that will probably continue to put some eventual pressure on the peso. We are not done yet repricing.
If the stock market is one of the key barometers for Trump of his success, which I think it is. I think he sees almost a virility in the stock market going up. I don't think that's going too far away from one of his key metrics. And US companies start suffering because their production facilities in Mexico are less easy to get profit from. And their manufacturing domestically is less easy to get profit from because millions of migrant workers are exports sent south of the border are extracted from the US workforce as well. Will the stock market fall on the back of this story?
I believe it will.
Ergo, will that lead to a change in policy?
I think they will probably lead to some calibration of policy. What you're describing here, Steve, the background tells me that, this is inflationary. And I think this is very important.
Well,
domestically,
I think so. I don't know any different from basic economics.
Absolutely.
If you increase your domestic cost base and you increase the importing cost base,
Absolutely.
I can't see how it would work any other way.
Absolutely, when capacity is not prepared for it. Right, so when endogenous capacity is not prepared for it, so that will create, and we saw, we've been putting so many charts ahead of our outlook. There is one beautiful chart showing the first trade war. And it shows that, 4 or 5 distinct products where the PCE, the selected PCE in those products, where we actually generated reflation compared to the aggregate value.
So